Hello. Hi, Henry. How are you?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Um, I think we're gonna give it one more minute and then we'll start. Um, apologies. I'm in the airport today, so it's very sunny. So I'm using my HMD to actually see the screen. Um, but thanks for taking the time and being game to be the interview.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Of course, of course. So I think we're going to start at 7 p.m. Welcome everyone. Hi Joe, thanks for joining live. Um, this is the September 2024 general members meeting for the American Medical Extended Reality Association. Um, I'm Mark Zhang. I'm the president of the AMXRA, and I look like this. Let me just pull this out. Hello, everyone. Um, but I'm using a tool that I actually posted on the boards a couple of months ago. A solution by a company called Groovis, and they make a HMD. It's not a VR headset. It's basically just a heads-up display, or sorry, not a heads-up display, a head-mounted display that mirrors your screen. It makes you look super weird, but highly effective. It's like a 1080p screen in front of me, and very helpful for flights, and very helpful on the airport if you're trying to do something more private. But with that, I'm going to just start moving. So at the end of this, we are going to open up the session for others who wish to join the live stream and connect. In order to do that, you do have to be on a desktop to enable the chat. I think you technically can do it on iPad or your mobile phone. But a lot of times it has issues, the platform. So if you want to join live and have your camera working, please use your desktop. We're trying a new format with the monthly meetings. So usually over the last couple of months, what we've been doing is we've been starting with an interview with one of the members, so highlighting a member, and then we'll go through kind of some business, some news, and then open it up for the forum. But today, I have the pleasure of connecting and interviewing Dr. Henry Xiang. Is it? Sorry, Henry. How do you pronounce your last name? Is it Xiang?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, Dr. Xiang, you have a very impressive background. But please, can you do a quick intro on who you are, your background, and maybe we'll start from there.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody, for inviting me to these general member meetings of the American Medical Extended Associations. My name is Henry Xiang. I'm a professor of medicine and the director of the Center for Pediatric Trauma Research at Nationwide Children's Hospital. I also direct the panel translational and clinical studies at the Ohio State University Center for Translational. Now we changed that to Clinical and Translational Science Institute. So over the past 20 years, I kind of made a paradigm shift in my research. I got my medical training from a top university in China and then moved to the United States, got my PhD in epidemiology from one of the 11 injury research centers at Colorado State University. And then I moved to the state health department and was the unit director there for 3 years. I have been doing virtual reality research since 2014, 2015. So currently, our team focuses on using virtual reality for and anxiety management during medical procedures among pediatric population. That's kind of like a short summary of my background and our current research project.
Well, it's great. Thanks for spending the time with us, Henry. I want to get a better sense. How did you get into virtual reality research? What got you interested in this field?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Sometimes we say, I always have this philosophy of life learning. So around the 2013 or 2014, I hired a postdoctor. His name is Jiabin Shen. He's now assistant professor in Boston area. So, he sort of brought this idea of virtual reality for injury preventions. He received training at University of Alabama at Birmingham. There, my friends and colleague, Dr. David Schwabel, used this virtual reality to train adolescents for street crossing safety training. So the idea is when my postdocs joined us, we thought about, okay, back then, that's around the 2014, 2013. We sort of, how can we sort of like develop the virtual reality for two research lines. One is use virtual reality for pain and anxiety management during medical procedures. The second one is how do we use virtual reality to help pediatric traumatic brain injury patients to sort of like first ideas to help them assess their cognitive performance, and then is to use virtual reality to help them recover from their traumatic brain injuries. Since Dr. Shen moved to another university, we sort of split, and he focused on TBI assessment and rehabilitation, and now our team focus on clinical studies to evaluate virtual reality for pain and anxiety management.
And Henry, do you primarily focus on the pediatric population for pain and anxiety?
Yes, we focus on, because we are at the Nationwide Children's Hospital, that's a natural choice for us to make. Also, we found out there are a lot of like potential applications of medical extended VR, medical extended reality for pediatric populations. We started with using virtual reality for acute pain management, right? So that's what other people have done, but now we are expanding that into other sort of like either clinical situation or conditions. For example, currently we have a intramurally funded pilot project to look at using impact of virtual reality during the laser dermatology treatment, which is a unique situation. During the laser treatment, physicians need to cover the patient's eye, right? It's a good choice. Actually, you can use virtual reality to achieve dual purpose of, one thing is you need to cover the patient eye. Another one is, when you use the virtual reality, you actually create a fun, immersive environment for them to enjoy the virtual reality game during that medical procedures. That will, our pilot studies result show that actually that can reduce the pre-procedure anxieties and potentially could reduce the pain during the laser treatment.
That's pretty fascinating. I love the idea of leveraging kind of these tools to enable kind of a dual purpose, right? Like not
Yeah.
only it's not it's an addition, but also it's taking the place of something that was going to happen anyways, with being additive on top of that. That's makes a ton of sense. Um, how does your kind of lab work? Like your research group, are you primarily partnering with outside organizations that develop the solutions that you study, or do you have developers as part of your kind of research group and you're custom building solutions internally?
In my opinion, there could be three approaches. Um, So one is you partner with game VR companies, outside companies. That's the one thing. And second, people have thought about that, but I have some doubt about that, which is you sort of use off-shelf virtual reality games, but that brings some challenge, particularly when we use among sensitive pediatric populations, right? So we cannot have violent virtual reality game. We cannot have other sort of like sexual content in there, right? Those kind of things are challenges. And the third approach is you have an in-house virtual reality game developers and also other professionals. You work together with them. So we are lucky to have our own game developer. By having our own game developer, we first of all, okay, those game developer are paid by our children's hospital, right? So we sometimes purchase some service hours, but most of the time the hospital pick up the personnel, the salary and all the stuff. And another thing is by working together with an in-house developer, we sort of like the hospital basically own the IP, intellectual properties, right? So we do not need to reach out and negotiate with the third-party like game developer company. We found it's easier for us.
So it sounds like your current kind of model that your group primarily is working on is in-house development, so custom solutions and studying. Do you have a preferred platform? It sounds like I know in the past you've used Pico. Are you primarily using all-in-ones or PCVR, or just depends on the use case?
Yeah, another thing is in addition to a game developer, we have other professionals who can do this marketing evaluation and functional and technical evaluation. In the medical field, it's very important to be compliant with the HIPAA data confidentiality and patient privacy. So basically, our hospital do not want us to sort of have a virtual reality goggle need to be connected with the internet and then store the data in the cloud. That's I'm not saying that can be done, cannot be done, but there are a lot of like regulation and legal issues around that. So with the Pico Neo is a standalone VR system. Does not need internet connection, and the data will not be stored in the cloud. So I think it's easier to get an IRB approval and also got an approval from our nationwide regulatory department to use the Pico Neo. Plus, we found out actually Pico Neo is a very decent equipment for us to use. So
Very cool. And I do have to ask, given that your area of research and you're based at Nationwide Children's, it seems like one of the ongoing kind of discussion points for deployment of kind of VR, specifically VR technologies in the pediatric population, is really around efficacy and, sorry, not efficacy, safety of VR, and at what age. Are there guidelines, or how do you handle that? How do you navigate that kind of in your area of research?
Yeah, we basically, based on the published studies and other people's experience, currently our game was developed for participants aged 6 and above. There are several reasons. One reason is, a lot of these VR goggles cannot be used for a small head size of the younger, very young children. That's the one thing, technical limitation. Second limitation is when we do these clinical trials, we need to get data from those participants. Yeah, children younger than 5 cannot really understand a lot of these questions. So it is very difficult for them to answer all of these questions. Third, I think the third thing is people kind of like are still debating what's the age cut point, right? So we sort of follow the mainstream thinking there to say do not use this virtual, particularly when we use the cover the eyes virtual reality equipment, do not use them among those children younger than 5. However, we recently got another study. We are using these AR, augmented realities. It's kind of like they use these projectors, and then using some mechanism for them, like a magical wand for them to interact with that. That will allow us to test that among younger participants. Our study will recruit 2-year-old to 8-year-old and test that effectiveness for manage the anxiety during IV emplacement if like a disaster happens, right? So a lot of these younger children running around crying, and during that disaster situation, when they gathered in a shelter. So that's kind of like our thinking about the age limitations.
Thank you so much. And actually, another thing, it sounds like number one, you've been doing this work for almost a decade now, which is pretty incredible. You have some pretty exciting news about your conference. So tell us more about the conference that is happening at Nationwide.
Oh, okay. So thank you very much. And we are trying to build our annual conference. We want to do that. So the conference will be held at our new conference centers at Nationwide Children's Hospital on October 15th, 2024. The rationale for us to have that is that currently there's WMAX at Cedars-Sinai, and there's another conference at Yale's, and also there's other national and international conferences. So what we want to do is to create a regional conference in the Midwest, trying to gather together those professionals in this field to share their new ideas and their project, and to promote this among researchers and professionals, and hopefully in the future we will attract more people to our conferences.
And first, congratulations. So it's October 15th at Nationwide Children's Hospital Conference Center. And your speaker list is on the website. Will this also be posted on AMXRA, the feed? But it sounds like it's a really, really great event. This is actually, Henry, this is not just for pediatricians. This is more for the state of XR in healthcare, for kind of the, targeting your region. Is that correct?
Yeah. So it's not specifically for pediatric. It's targeted a wider audience. It's happened. Here at Nationwide Children's Hospital. Another exciting news is I'm working together with the Journal of Medical Extended Reality to have a special issue focus on pediatric application of medical reality. So I'm trying to grab that announcement, and we will invite researchers around the world to submit their manuscript to that journal. So
that's excellent. Well, thank you so much, Henry, for both the work that you're doing first of all, for doing this interview, but the work you're doing with Journal of Medical Extended Reality, and also the symposium. I think this is it's a wonderful contribution to the field. And if you want to learn more, we'll post it on the AMXRA feed. And I wish you success. This is great stuff.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. So I think I'm going to, actually, before we go to the next topic, Henry, is there anything else you want to say? What excites you the most about the field of medical extended reality?
I think I think the most exciting things, there are two things. One thing is we actually saw the actual impact on the patient experience and outcome. This is unlike my research in previous decade. More than 2 decades ago, we published epidemiology public health papers, and then that's the end of story. And basically, the most of the time, that's the end of stories. But now, we use we develop and testing these interventions. The excitement and the good feedback we got from the families and the patients are really rewarding. That's the one thing. And another thing is, Mark, this is a kind of like new science frontier, which means, for example, I think the neuroscience can be an important player in this. For example, still the underlying mechanism. A lot of people are still using the attention gateway distraction mechanism, but however, I think the neurobiomarkers and the neuroimaging will open a door to this mystery mechanism of virtual realities. I think that's a very exciting field for scientists like us.
You're so spot on. It's the aperture widens, and it's a technology-enabled aperture, which is really, really exciting. I have to end one more question, Henry, if you will humor me. Certainly the field is still very early, and there are a lot of opportunities for growth and challenges. What is a major barrier in XR that you're seeing kind of in 2024 that we as an organization and field need to kind of tackle?
I think as a field, we need sort of like working very hard to move this from a research domain to the clinical practice domain, which means there are a lot of things we need to do. We need to work together with FDA to get approval, and also we need working together with the insurance company so they can create a specific billing code for those interventions, so that this service provided by this could be reimbursed by the insurance company. Think about, I usually use a good example since here. For example, for treating children who suffer from long-term chronic pain, right? One session will last basically 3 or 4 weeks. Start from the 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So 8 hours for 3 or 4 weeks, one session. So Mark or Morgan, so that's keep that in mind in our vision to say, okay, if you have a child, if you are grandpa or parents, you need drive maybe 20 or even 30, 40 minutes every day, arrive there at 8 o'clock and leave at 4 o'clock. Think about the burden on you and the interruption with the child schooling. And this is the huge, and also the cost could be around 30,000 to 40,000 for that comprehensive chronic pain, right? And so if we can create some virtual reality for help those children and family manage their pain, if we can just cut by 2 or 3 hours per day, right? That's a huge benefit. So I think to answer your question, so the biggest barrier for us is not the research per se. Actually, I do think there's some like funding mechanism where support this innovative health solutions, digital health solutions. But I do think the biggest challenge is, for us to working together with FDA, insurance company, and building code creators to create a mechanism so the service will be reimbursed.
Thank you, Henry. This is great. I hope you stay on. But it's a real pleasure interviewing you. We do these. We're going to continue with this format. I think this is like really great to get to know the members. And actually, Henry, I believe you are a founding member of the American Medical Extended Reality Association. So thank you for that as well. But we'll continue this kind of format and use the monthly meetings to do this. If you're interested in being being highlighted in the next monthly meeting, please reach out to me, and we'll make it happen. But again, thank you. And for those that are interested in joining the XR Symposium hosted by Nationwide Children's Hospital, it's October 15th, 2024, and the bit.ly is below. And you can also learn more at AMXRA. I will put a post to make sure that's there. So thank you again. And I'm going to move forward with just some announcements. There's actually been quite a bit of news that's happened actually in the last week that I think we all should know, be aware of, the whole community for AMXRA should be aware of, not so much in the healthcare side, but certainly in the hardware side. There actually is some healthcare news as well. I didn't put it here, but we can maybe talk about that as well. But the first is Vision OS 2 is live. And, it's a lot of quality of life benefits. A post will be coming up shortly on AMXRA, kind of linking to a great article. Upload VR is you'll see the same kind of style, but it's a great website for those who are interested in kind of the field of XR, not just healthcare, but pertinent to kind of maybe healthcare as a whole. Is certainly they have some better kind of tracking algorithms that are enabled within Vision OS 2, but also HealthKit is enabled. So that enables more kind of applications that leverage the HealthKit kind of suite to be enabled for Vision OS solutions. Also, Vision OS 2.2 enables for enterprise-grade solutions the ability to use lower-level camera access. And the value of that is that it can enable specifically for enterprise solutions, the ability to use custom computer vision programs, and just having that lower level kind of access to the cameras, the camera arrays in Vision OS 2, I know is a big value add for many of the developers who may be members. Finally, I think for the operators and folks within clinical medicine, Vision OS 2 is also, I believe, one of the things that they're implementing, either in this version or in a coming version soon, is the ability to enable their internal MDM solutions. So you can deploy kind of Vision OS hardware in a similar manner to kind of how we can deploy kind of iOS phones and tablets through the Apple similar model. So it's a pretty major announcement and release, and hopefully we'll be able to do a deeper dive into this in a future meeting. Next big update is Snap. Actually, I'm doing this sequentially. So today is the 17th. Actually, today is the 18th. Yesterday, 17th. So the 16th was when Vision 2 was released. The 17th, Snap actually unveiled their latest AR spectacles, and it's a truly AR experience. There's a link on AMXRA to the kind of live demo that the Snap founder kind of did during their announcement, and it shows kind of the interaction and a very wide FOV for their solutions. It's pretty interesting to see kind of this enabled in this form factor. It's specifically for developers, $100 a month. But you know, more kind of progress kind of in the AR field. And then finally today, actually, HTC Vive released an update to their Focus 3. They're calling it the Focus Vision. It's has a lot of great enterprise capabilities. I have to do a deeper dive and fully see what major updates there are to Focus 3. But I think specifically for groups that are looking for an enterprise solution to deploy that is like purpose-built for enterprise, Focus Vision seems like a pretty good candidate to consider. More information, I'll take a deeper dive, but I wanted to make sure to announce those things. Finally, we have new articles in Journal of Medical Extended Reality. So, you know, we are posting the Marianne Liebert group in partnership with AMXRA. You know, we've sponsored the first open access peer-reviewed journal of record for the field of medical extended reality back in January. We are just off to the races. I think we're close to 30 published articles. I don't know the exact number, don't quote me, but we're getting close to that, which is very exciting. You know, I would encourage you all to look at the articles. Here are some of the most recent ones. So, article looking at the feasibility, adoption, and utility of augmented reality for training medical students in lumbar punctures. The creation of a virtual reality telesimulation program during the pandemic. Some lessons learned. And then age and sex differences of virtual reality pain alleviation therapeutics during pediatric burn care, which actually, Dr. Shang, you actually were the you were the senior author on, so congratulations, in RCT. What we are building with the society is exactly things like this, to support the whole field of extended reality, medical extended reality, by being able to sponsor cornerstones to, I think, the field, like the Journal of Medical Extended Reality. So, you know, as a member of AMXRA for the rest of 2024, if you are the corresponding author, the publication fees are waived. So that is one of the benefits of your membership to AMXRA. And moving forward, as JMedXR is the official journal of American Medical Extended Reality Association, members will continue to have a substantial discount as if you're the corresponding author to publish in our journal. So more of a reason to, one, consider submitting your research, your original research to Journal of Medical Extended Reality, and two, to continue to support the American Medical Extended Reality Association. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, October is a pretty busy month for events. So certainly XR Symposium in 2024 at Nationwide Children's Hospital, October 15th. At the Conference Center, you can learn more at this bit.ly, and also we'll post more information on amxra.org. You can also reach out to Dr. Xiang on the AMXRA feed if you want to learn more. Also, actually, in England, for those who might be international, we have a small segment of the AMXRA community is international. XR UK conference is happening in Birmingham, England, October 14th through the 15th. It's their inaugural event focused on medical extended reality, and what is going on both in the UK, but also looking at their speaker list in the broader European region. If you want to learn more, www.xruk.net. And then finally, Augmented Enterprise Summit is happening in Dallas, October 15th through the 17th. It's not specifically a healthcare specific conference, but for more broadly towards enterprise. So a lot of verticals like manufacturing, and there are some pharma companies that go there as well. Boeing, NASA, a lot of groups like that go to Augmented Enterprise Summit. If you've never been, I think it's certainly interesting and worthwhile, and it definitely gives you perspective on how other segments and verticals are utilizing XR for training and their day-to-day work. AMXRA members get 15% off registration. So if you're interested in going, you can use code AMXRA15 and get 15% off your registration if you're interested. So another way your membership is working for you. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing and open it up to the crowd. So let's see here. I got to go find the. There you go. There you go. Let's see here. So I'm gonna see here. I'm gonna see. So I see Joe and Nick. I'll invite you all if you're interested. We'll open it up for members. All right. While we open it, and again, if you don't want to join, no worries. You can always decline. I'll give you a high-level kind of review of the Guvis art. So this is the thing that I am wearing on my head, and it is not a VR device. It is just a head-mounted display. It uses USB-C to connect to any kind of any video-enabled kind of USB-C connection. So, if you have a Samsung phone, I have certain Samsung phones have DeX, and they have the ability to take video out. So it'll do DeX. I think with more modern iPhones, you'll get a mirror view of kind of or iPads, you'll get a mirror view of what you're seeing. And certainly with the, hey Joe, how are you?
Good, how's it going?
I'm okay. Certainly with the laptop, you get essentially a monitor right on your face. It's very helpful in very sunny situations, but it does make you look weird. But that's okay. How are you, Joe?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Thanks for joining live. How are things going in your neck of the woods? And how's the world of medical extended reality from where you sit?
Things are going well. It's a very interesting time in on multiple fronts. And I'm actually very curious about the Vision OS 2 and what the enterprise setup looks like in terms of how that would work. And it's actually very encouraging. Giving access to the raw frame data is something that's been several companies, as you know, have done it a while ago, and then they kind of took it back, and now so they're starting to open it up again, and certain companies want you to fill out forms and this and that. So I'm curious about just what the overall setup looks like for AVP and enterprise.
So Joe, just for the sake of there's always new people that join AMXRA. Of course we have a long history, know each other, but maybe others don't. Can you do a quick
Sure.
intro, who you are, and yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the talk today. I'm Joe Morgan. I'm an anesthesiologist by training. I still practice, and I founded a company called Waya Health back in 2016, and we build solutions focused on really assessing, treating, and delivering care to people and patients.
Right, and so you have not only your clinical background, but you also have a business in the medical extended reality. Your Waya does essentially custom dev. It's custom dev in the sense that you're a developer. You develop custom solutions.
Yeah, we make our stuff in house. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and what solutions do you primarily focus on? What are like your flagship software solutions?
Yeah, so I mean, we do a wide variety of things, but I would say one of the big poles holding up the tent is certainly, the perioperative space, and so that was, another reason why I really enjoyed the talk today. And we've used implementations in a pediatric population before, and have a couple in play now. Actually, just moved a couple of efforts forward recently. And it's a great space because you could really, make a difference very quickly. And, it's little things like IV starts, for example, just so high yield. And, any one of us who take care of kids know that could be a real big deal, especially at a children's hospital. You have to be sensitized and so on. So I think it's a great space, and I think it's really great what he's doing in the symposium too to go with it.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. What's your take on kind of focus? Have you done much a deeper dive into the new HCC kind of solution, the Focus Vision?
Yeah, so I actually was checking out the newest one that was announced within the last few days, and I'm not entirely sure if it's tethered or not. I spent a few minutes looking, and I had to move on to something else, but it's not entirely clear to me if it is or is not.
I think it's both. I think it's because my understanding is, and again, I also need to do. I think it was just like literally announced today, officially. But it sounds like it's like an improvement of the Focus 3, where what they've done is essentially kind of continue to keep compatibility with the all-in-one kind of capabilities of Focus 3, while also enabling it to be kind of a PCVR, a good PCVR solution as well for enterprise. So I think one of their marketing things I saw was, it's good enough for arcades. Actually, I was just in, I'm in Los Angeles right now, and I've seen over the last year in some of my travels this kind of surge of these VR arcades kind of popping out. And I think they're using Focus 3. At least the one I saw, I didn't go, unfortunately, I couldn't go, but I saw the ad. They're using it looks like a Focus, probably I'm guessing connected to like some kind of mobile PC in a backpack to enable the solution. So I think it just has the flexibility to do both, right? Like, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, kind of like an Oculus Link in that sense. Yeah,
yep, exactly.
I did see that there is stereoscopic high-res pass-through cameras, which, I mean, you know, getting back to the AVP, I think that's a positive, you know, side effect of that, of all of that, is that you know, they're forcing other people to also, you know, step up their game with regards to pass-through capabilities.
Did you ever play with their previous consumer solution, the XR Elite? It was the smaller kind of all-in-one headset that had the capability. It was very light. Actually, kind of looked similar to this, maybe like a little bigger, but
the glasses.
Yeah, not the Flow, but the one after that was powered with a much more powerful Snapdragon. You know.
I have not.
Okay.
I've messed with the glasses, the Focus 3, and the newest one does look very interesting.
Yeah.
I obviously haven't had a chance to try it yet.
Yeah, I'm interested. You know, I think they had very good pass-through in the XR Elite, but it wasn't corrected. The distortion wasn't corrected, which made it like it was very clear, but it goes to show how important like kind of distortion correction is when you have like stereoscopic like mixed reality experiences. So I'm hoping that with at least I don't think it was corrected when I played with it, but it makes you like think about how important that will be for kind of mixed reality experiences moving forward, and you know, like it's something that I just wouldn't have thought about, particularly when you think about like the pass-through enabled mixed reality experiences.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So one other thing I can share after looking at the specs that I saw today is just like the first thing I look at is it's good news and bad news in that the material on the back, you know, the sort of cushion part on the back of the headset actually is unfortunately appears to be cloth. However, it does look like it's modular. So I'm assuming that they have a polyvinyl or something modular snap-in so that it can be more amenable to enterprise use, particularly in healthcare. So
oh my gosh,
first thing I look at.
First thing, right? Like cloth. Well, that and the other thing I look at now is I have the thing I like about this HMD is that one, it's very light, but it uses like this flip-up kind of model like that. Right?
Oh, nice.
So like I can actually, as someone who wears glasses, who relies on glasses, I also have like hilariously big glasses. Having the one thing I really liked about the Quest Pro headset was the form factor, right? Because it just kind of, it didn't fully occlude, but it gave you, it made it immersive enough for like that type of work. But also, like, you can wear your own glasses. It's just an ergonomic, from an ergonomic standpoint, it just makes so much sense. This is a similar kind of build, and I think, like, in many ways, what's most exciting about this is that it solves, like, a lot of people are running, even like the new Snaps and like a lot of the AR kind of solutions, they're all running towards replacing your glasses. But,
yes.
What about I don't know what the population, 30%, probably more, of the population that just has glasses already. That's a big ask to rely on, to buy new technology that also is basically a piece of your body, right? Like it's a big commitment, and I've done it with like Bluetooth frames, right, for audio. And it's just like it doesn't, and I thought about doing it for the Ray-Bans. But I think that this kind of form factor is just way easier because I don't have to make that choice, right? It becomes, in many ways, the third computer, right? Like if you think about like the phone in your pocket, the smartwatch in your wrist, this is potentially a third, like the third one, right? Like the head-mounted unit that ideally, maybe it's glasses, but for me, as a glasses wearer, I like the fact that it's the landscape is your forehead and is removable easily, right? Like that's like so important.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's interesting in that we all know where the form factor is going, right? It's going to glass, right? But it'll be very interesting to see the course that we take between now and whenever, let's just say a eyeglass form factor sort of, you can toggle the shutter and essentially flip-flop between just using it for glasses, pass through AR or just AR, and then, ideally fully virtual. I think you're right. I think it'll go a long ways too for adoption, in that it's not a foreign thing. It's not like, oh, I have this thing on my face, because when we first started out, that was a big barrier. It's like, asking somebody to put this thing on their face.
Right.
Right. So.
Right. I don't know. I think I for one am looking forward to when the glasses become ubiquitous, and when that time happens. Until that time happens, I think like what's exciting. I've always been like a gadget nerd at heart, and I love the idea of like these like different form factors that augment different wearables, right? Like because as these things get smaller and more like possible, right? Like I mean, who's the next brave individual company that will revive the Google Glass form factor, right? And just do it again, but with 2024, 2025 technology, and like don't be too cute about it, right? Like just make a heads-up display that like lives like kind of floating above your line of sight. I think that would be amazing, right? Like there's just like there's a sweet spot there that is still not leveraged, and I think the closest thing would be like a Vuzix, and like but I think the gambit is Vuzix is really or the companies in that space, they are really building for enterprise, like full stop, enterprise grade, great things. There's a cheaper, I don't know, I feel like there's a cheaper consumer play there that could be pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I think, widespread adoption amongst consumers is probably somewhat of a prerequisite for widespread patient-centered applications, right? I mean, same thing happened in mobile.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's, and, how we get there will be very interesting because there are so many different types. I mean, very similar to what you're using now, the Linksr, which, I've tried once. I was pretty impressed by it. I think that, I applaud them for making everything open, really.
Yeah.
And, without a fee and all of that.
Yeah.
And so, there's a couple of players in that space for sure.
Yeah, I can try to remember. Is Lynx the one with the super interesting lens array that was like a star lens?
That's right.
Yeah, I remember. I think I saw them at CES maybe a year or two ago.
And they also have the flip. I mean, it flips. They
do have the flip. I think it's a great. It's a really really nice. Like how do we get to loops, right? Like that's the goal.
Well, and the sort of origin of the flip, at least, I guess my sort of era was Windows Reality. That's we were the ones who started it.
Oh, I actually don't. Which headset was that did the flip?
So the Lenovo did that. That's a hell of a headset, actually. I mean, it's extremely lightweight. Yeah. It's literally just the display inside, plastic form factor. And had good resolution for the time, and it was just flip it up. Yeah,
it's great. I like the flip, and I like the open side. Like having your braille in view. What's the other thing I'll say? Back to the focus vision, and then I think we should close this out shortly. But
sure.
I think that I like the fact that the facial interface, the view box, seems big enough to support most glasses, right?
Yes.
Like That to me is like a must-have when you think about.
Yeah, it's like intraocular distance. If you don't accommodate for that, you're ostracizing a certain percentage of people.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I agree.
Yeah. Prescription inserts means you've lost. Means you've given up. That's my.
Right. That's a good way of putting it. I agree.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Joe. Anything? I want to make sure we. I got a flight to catch, number one, but I want to make sure we close this out. Any closing words for the September monthly meeting?
I think it was a great talk today, and I really like this format. I look forward to the next one. Great.
Well, you know what? Thanks for joining, and we will do. And also, thank you for being a founding member of AMXRA. Always good to see the founding members. We'll do this again next month, third Wednesday, 7 p.m. We'll be here Eastern time. And if you're interested in joining or being the interview, please reach out. Lynn, I see that you've joined. We're about to close, but thank you for joining live, and we'll see you in the next one. See you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.